What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm Bandit Barney, bringing you everything you need to know about Red Dead Online. I want to quickly shout out everyone who's joined the Discord. Glad to have you there. The tips and conversation, some of it new to me and all around good stuff. If you want to find some people to play with in Red Dead Online, then that's a place to go. The link will be down in the description below. But without further ado, let's jump into something that's going to be a bit fun. Let's look at the top 5 Easter eggs in Red Dead 2 and Red Dead Online. Now, I have to say, obviously, this is opinion. There's not a factual list out there of the top 5 Easter eggs, and these Easter eggs aren't in necessary order, except for the last one is one that I found kind of really cool, But let's start off with the first one, which is the UFO. This was one of the first Easter eggs that I found in the game, and it's one that was really interesting because it's also interconnected to other Easter eggs, and we'll get into more of that later. But for those of you that don't know what the UFO is or how to get there, basically above Emerald Station there's a little hut, and inside that hut is like this gruesome scene with all these people dead, and clearly they've been dead for a long time. And there's a note there that reads of a time that when the UFO will come around. Then if you wait a while and you go back to the hut, you can actually see a UFO. And then later on, if you go over to Mount Shan, I'm butchering that, I know. But if you go up to the top of that mountain, you can also see the UFO in a much better lighting. If you guys haven't seen it, it was a fun little thing to do in the game. It was super easy to do. But what's the interesting part is the letter of this Easter egg also connects to our next Easter egg, which is, in my opinion, probably the biggest Easter egg that Red Dead 2 has, which is the time traveling man. Now, this time traveling man, his name is Francis Sinclair, and he has a connection with GTA 5 in the, I think it's called Epsilon program. So this is like the biggest bridge between these two games is the time traveling man, Francis Sinclair. He's over by Awanagila, that lake that's over on the west side of the map. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce it. You can correct me in the comments below. But he's over there, and you can start this by going over to his cabin. He'll pop out, and he talks like he's from like a later time period, like maybe the 1950s or something like that. And in the dialogue, you notice that Arthur doesn't really understand what he's getting at, and I think it's because he doesn't want to just tell Arthur that, hey bro, I'm from the future. Like, anyone who comes out and says something like that, you're thinking, all right, you're crazy, I'm gonna try and get out of this conversation as soon as possible. But Francis Sinclair is from the future, and he asks you to go around the map and find these different carvings. Now, if you do find the different carvings, or if you just want to watch the video here, you'll go back to the cabin, and when you go back, you go inside and you see this wall of like the crazy drawings, and it looks like that he's time traveling through different time periods in these drawings, and it's clearly Francis Sinclair in the center of that drawing. And off to the left side of the drawing, you also see some buildings that look like they're from GTA 5. When you get back to the cabin though, Francis Sinclair isn't there. A woman walks in with a baby. Now, if you pay close attention, the baby is actually Francis. And Arthur is wondering about who Francis, like, where is Francis Sinclair? Because he didn't meet anyone else. He only knew of Francis Sinclair, and he's wondering where is he. And the lady says that this is Francis Sinclair. This baby is him. And that's when Arthur is just kind of like, okay, this is way above my head. I'm getting out of here. But this is a time traveling man who also has a connection with the Epsilon program in GTA 5. There's fuller breakdowns on YouTube that you can go check out if you want to dive deeper into that. But that's kind of the overarching view of that Easter egg, which in my opinion is one of the cooler Easter eggs that connects Red Dead 2 to GTA 5, which is always a neat thing when developers figure out ways to connect their previous titles. Then we have the vampire. Now this one is an easier Easter egg, and the way you find this vampire is you go to Saint Denis. And when you're in Saint Denis, there's like 5 different locations with weird cryptic writing on them. So if you inspect each cryptic writing, Arthur will pull out his journal and he'll write in his journal. And at the end of it, what you do is you find out that right above, I believe it's the train station, if you go above the train station into a little square between buildings, there during like 2 a.m., a vampire will come out. And you have a short dialogue with this vampire. Basically, he's really talking a lot about death and how he's been alive for so long. It's a short interaction. It's not a long interaction. And ultimately, he'll either kill you, or if you act first, you'll kill him. You can get a neat knife off of him. But this Easter egg, you know, doesn't... When initially I found it, I thought it would be like alluding to something deeper in the game, like the time traveling man. That's really got like a deep connection in the game. It has a connection with the UFO Easter egg as well, because the UFO kind of cryptic note that you pick up in the little hut above Emerald Station relates to the story of Francis Sinclair. However, the vampire one, it doesn't really relate to any other stories. It is a neat Easter egg to see this vampire in a game, and he clearly is a vampire. Like, you walk up on him and he's sucking the blood off of some guy. So clearly a vampire. But other than that, there's not really anything else related to the vampire series, which I'm not sure if something in the future will come and be related to that. We know that in GTA 5, like, the DLCs they added for the game, like, were all over the place, right? I think it'll be a little bit more keen to the time rather than total fantasy when we get DLCs for this game. So I'm not sure if the vampire will play in anywhere else, but it was a cool, fun little Easter egg. Then we have the matter of cheat codes. All of Rockstar's games have cheat codes, and the neat thing is that in Red Dead 2, those cheat codes are actually given to us throughout the game. There's different areas of the game that you can go and search, and there'll be writings in like drawers, or there's writings in the tunnel in North Amberino when the train goes through. These different writings are actually cheat codes, and it's really neat to see Rockstar give you these cheat codes in game. And I had no idea what these cryptic writings were. They're also you can find them in a lot of newspapers. If you flip over a newspaper and look down at the bottom, in fine print at the bottom will be a short phrase, and that phrase is actually a cheat code that you can enter. You just open up your settings, hit triangle, and start entering your cheats. Now when you enter cheats, you can't then continue with the game. You won't be allowed to save when you have a cheat code activated, as well as you won't unlock any achievements while you're using cheats. But they are something fun to get and use in game, you know, like getting a ton of explosive rounds or things like that. But I thought it was really, really interesting that Rockstar had a way of hiding these different cheat codes in drawers, on walls, and in newspapers for us to find out as we're playing through the game. I thought that the newspapers were just totally useless, right? Like, of course it adds to the immersion, but there's really no connection between the newspapers and playable things or storylines in the game. But apparently we can get cheat codes in them, which I thought was pretty neat. And that brings us to our last one, which I wouldn't say is the biggest one, but it's probably my favorite one. In order to understand this, I'm gonna shed some light on like a little bit of controversy, or maybe just some things that actually happened leading up to the release of Red Dead 2, which was Rockstar really worked their employees hard to get the game out at the deadline. There was a controversy going around where Rockstar employees were working like 12, 15-hour days on weekends in order to meet deadlines to get the game out on time. Now, Rockstar creates phenomenal games. I can't speak for the employees if this was something that they really didn't want to do, or that they were like committed and passionate about the game and they wanted to get it out on time. I can't speak to that. But what I can speak to is that it's really awesome to see that hard work that the employees put in acknowledged in game. And where you see this is if you go and open up your catalog. Doesn't matter if you do this in online and you open the player catalog, or if you go to a store in the campaign mode. If you look at the Cattleman revolver, and under a militia favorite, the top description here, part of that description is it is made by skilled laborers who work tireless hours each week and on the weekends for little pay in order to bring you the finest revolver in the field today. And this is just a neat little homage to all the employees that worked really, really hard at Rockstar in order to get us this phenomenal game out on time. Now, I thought it was cool, and it's always neat when a developer can acknowledge the people that work to put everything together in a like permanent fashion. Not necessarily just a tweet or something like that, but they got it in the game. And although it's tiny, it's pretty neat to see that, hey, the first weapon you get, the cheapest weapon to get, has the description of, you know, people work tirelessly to bring this to you. And the acknowledgement there under the Cattleman revolver. I'd love to hear from you guys. What are your favorite Easter eggs in the game? There's plenty of them. We only did 5 here, but there's plenty of them throughout the game, so let us know in the comments, or you know, if you feel like it, join the Discord. We'd love to have you there. Neat conversations going on over there all the time. Thank you guys so much for the support. We're at 4,500 subscribers, which is a big leap from the, you know, 30 or 40 we had when we were a few weeks into the channel. So thank you guys so much for that support. I appreciate that support you're giving, man. Really do. Love having you on the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Until then, take care.